Basketball is a team sports that played between two teams of 5 players, each on a rectangular court, usually indoors.
Volleyball is a team sport in which two teams of 6 players are separated by a net.
Football, also called association football or soccer team, in which two teams of 11 players using any part of their bodies except their hands and arms.
Basketball is a team sports that played between two teams of 5 players, each on a rectangular court, usually indoors. Each team tries to score by tossing the ball through the opponent's goal, an elevated horizontal hoop and net called a basket. Basketball came to existence through the ingenuity of Dr. James Naismith. It was first played in 1891 at Springfield, Massachusetts, Young Men's Christian Association. The first ball basket used was a soccer ball because of its ability to bounce uniformly. The first basket were pitch basket suspended from the traditional running track of so many gymnasium built in that period. The first team had 9 players, 3 forwards, 3 centers, and 3 guards. Later, it became optional to reduce 5, and finally, 5 was selected as the best number. Basketball was first used in Olympic Games in 1936 in Berlin, where the United States toyed with all oppositions. Moreover, the facility and equipments used in playing basketball are the playing court with 28 meters and 15 meters width. The playing court consists of boundary line, center circle, semicircle, free throw line, restricted areas, and free throw rebound places, 3-point field goal area, and team bench areas. Also, these are the primary things you need to play basketball, which are the backstop units consisting of backboards, baskets comprising rings, and net. Basketball support structure including padding, ball, game clock, scoreboard, 24-second device, stopwatch, score sheets, alternating position arrow, jersey, and rubber shoes. Furthermore, there are rules and regulations that we need to follow in playing basketball, such as the players must bounce or dribble the ball with one hand while moving both feet. If at any time both hands touch the ball or the players stop dribbling, the players must only move one foot. Also, the basketball player can only take one turn at dribbling. In other words, once a player has stopped dribbling, they cannot start another dribble. The ball must stay in bounds. If the offensive team loses the ball out of bounds, the other team gets control of the basketball. Once the offensive team crosses half court, they may not go back into the backcourts. This called a backcourt violations. And no player can touch the basketball while it is traveling downward towards the basket or if it is on the rim. And lastly, there are some basic skills that the individual should have playing basketball, such as passing regardless of which pass is used, catching, which is receiving the ball, is most important fundamental skills in playing basketball, dribbling, which is used to advance the ball, break for a basket or maneuver out a difficult situation, shooting, which is primary objective of the game is to score goals, and lastly, pivoting, which is to maneuver and protect the ball by keeping the body between the ball and the defensive players.
Volleyball is a team sport in which two teams of 6 players are separated by a net. Each team tries to score points by striking or attacking the ball on the other team's court with enough accuracy and power that the opponents cannot hit it back and make a return. The volleyball game was started in 1895 at YMCA or Young Men's Christian Association, Holyoke City of Massachusetts, USA. Volleyball game was invented by William G. Morgan, a physical director of physical education at YMCA in Holyoke City, Massachusetts. He was inspired to create a new game after he met the inventor of basketball, Dr. James Naismith, a few years earlier. So it was originally intended and designed for businessmen who desired an activity less strenuous and vigorous than basketball. William G. Morgan called the sport mintonette until a professor from Springfield College in Massachusetts renamed it to volleyball, which is Dr. Alfred Thompson Halstead. It is because the point of the volleyball is to volley the ball back and forth. After Dr. Alfred renamed it to volleyball, Alwood S. Brown introduced volleyball in the Philippines in the year 1910. It was first played as demonstration sports in 1964 Tokyo Olympics and became an official event in the Summer Olympics Games in 1964 in Tokyo. Moreover, these are the facilities and equipment used in playing volleyball, which are the playing court and free zone, net, post, antenna, and lastly the ball. So when playing court and free zone, it is a rectangle measuring 18 by 9 meters surrounded by a free zone which is minimum of 3 meters wide on all sides. The ball should be spherical, made of flexible leather or synthetic leather. The volleyball ball circumference is 65 to 67 centimeters and it weighs 260 to 280 grams. And lastly, the net, antenna, and post, which is the net is placed vertically over the center line, whose top is set at the height of 2.43 meters for men and 2.24 meters for women. It is 1 meter wide and 9.50 meters long, made of 10 centimeter square black mesh. The antenna is flexible rod, 1.80 meters long and 10 millimeter in diameter. The posts supporting the net are placed at a distance of 0.50 to 1 meters outside the sideline. They are 2.55 meters high and preferably adjustable. Furthermore, these are the basic rules that we need to follow in playing volleyball, such as: first, only 6 players on the floor at any given time, 3 in the front row and 3 in the back row. Second, there is a maximum of 3 hits per side, and points are made on every serve for the winning team of rally. Third, players may not hit the ball twice in succession, and the ball may be played off the net during a volley and on a serve. Fourth, a ball hitting a boundary line is in, and a ball is out if it hits an antenna. Fifth, it is illegal to contact the ball with any part of the player's body, but it is illegal to catch, hold, or throw the ball. Sixth, a player cannot block or attack a serve from or on or inside the 10-foot line, and after the serve, front line players may switch position at the net. And lastly, matches are made up of set. The numbers depend on level of play. In addition, these are the basic skills that the individual or an athlete should have or possess in order to play volleyball. first is the serving skills, in which it is the first weapon that can generate an immediate point, begin a game, or ignite an offense. Second is the passing skills or setting skills, which is accurate and consistent passing and setting can result in an aggressive multiple attack. Third is the attacking skills, which is the purpose of the attacking or spiking skills is to win the rally by hitting the ball hard down the line, cross court, and hitting shots to all areas of the court. Fourth is the blocking skills, which is a well-timed and effective block, diffuses an offensive attack. And lastly, the defensive skills, which is the goal of the defensive skills is to get the ball up to the opponent's court and safely return to the ready position as quickly as possible.
Football, also called association football or soccer game, in which two teams of 11 players using any part of their bodies except their hands and arms try to maneuver the ball into the opposing team's goal. Only the goalkeeper is permitted to handle the ball and may do so only within the penalty area surrounding the goal. The team that scores more goals wins. There is no clear documentation stating the date and place of origination of today's most popular sport, football. However, most historians agree that some type of a ball game has been played for at least over 3,000 years. In 5000 to 300 BC, there is evidence in China that military forces around 2nd and 3rd century BC Han Dynasty played a game originally named Chu that involves kicking a leather ball staff with 4 into a small hole. Like soccer, no hands were permitted during the play of the game. In 1000 BC, the Japanese version of soccer was called kemari, a game much like modern hacky-sack, played with 2 to 12 players and played a larger ball staff with sawdust. In ancient Greece, they played a game called episkairos, in which 2 equal numbered teams would try to throw the ball over the head of the other team. But in 700s, the first football games played in Britain was between the locals of East of England, starting after a legendary game that involves kicking around the severed head of a Danish prince that they had defeated in war. These games were violent, where injury and death were not uncommon. In the 1900s, soccer played at the Olympic Games for the first time. In 1904, establishment of FIFA by delegates from France, Belgium, Denmark, and the Netherlands, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland at a meeting in Paris on the 21st of May in 1930. The Fédération Internationale de Football Association or FIFA held soccer's first World Cup tournament in Montevideo, Uruguay with 13 teams. Moreover, the facilities and equipments used in playing football is first, the football field, which is the optimum size of soccer or football field is 75 yards or 68.58 meters by 120 yards or 109.73 meters. New facilities should be a minimum of 70 yards or 64.01 meters in width by 115 yards or 105.15 meters in length. FIFA's rules meanwhile state that fields must be a minimum length of 90 meters or 100 yards and a maximum of 120 meters or 130 yards. Next is the soccer ball. It is a spherical or round and made of leather. For FIFA soccer, the ball must have a circumference of 27 to 28 inches and weight between 14 and 16 ounces. And lastly, soccer equipment today includes much more such shin guards, goalie equipment, soccer referee equipment, football kit bag, and soccer training equipment such as flags, cones, agility ladder, and slalom poles. Furthermore, there are some basic rules that the athlete or players should follow in playing football. First, each team should comprise of 11 players. Each team must have one goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders, and forwards. Next is players are not allowed to handle the ball with hands. They are allowed only to kick or head the ball. Next, hands are used to throw the ball into ground when it is out of ground during the match. Next, only goalkeepers could handle the ball with hand inside penalty box, save a goal or set a goal for a kick. Match is held as 2 halves for 45 minutes each, total duration of 90 minutes, with a break of 15 minutes halfway through. Last is when a team kick a ball into opponent net, it is considered as a goal. And lastly, the basic skills that the athlete or individual should have in order to play football is first, the dribbling skills, because it allows the players to keep possession of the ball while moving either towards the opponent end of the field or to create space to either shoot or make a pass. Second is juggling skills that can help a player with his ball control, coordination, and can help to improve their reaction. Third is the passing skills, which is a good passing team in football is able to keep possession of the ball and move it down the field. In many ways, passing is just as important as shooting for your team to score a goal. Fourth is the receiving skills, in which the receiving football with your feet is an important skill in football. A pass is only as good as a player's ability to receive the pass and keep the play going. Practicing these skills is important for all young football players. And lastly, the shooting skills, in which learning to shoot the football is one of the most important skills a player will need. The 2 most important skills when shooting is power and accuracy. Players should practice both and also be able to shoot the ball with either foot.
Baseball or softball is a team sport played with a bat, a ball, and gloves between 2 teams of 9 players, each on a field with 4 bases laid out a diamond. Baseball evolved from the British game called rounders and gained popularity in the United States in the early 90s. It has gone by many names in the past, including town ball, go ball, round ball, and simply base, just to name a few. The first documentation of baseball in 1838, but there are references to a game of baseball going back to the late 70s. The story promoted as the invention of baseball by Abner Doubleday, a Civil War hero for the Union, largely being discredited. The first published rules of baseball were written in 1845 for a New York baseball club called the Knickerbockers. The author, Alexander J. Cartwright, is one person commonly known as the father of baseball. Cartwright laid out rules for playing the game for the first time and made one important change. No longer could an out be recorded by plugging a runner, hitting him with the ball. The rules required fielders to tag or force the runner, which is still the rule today. Moreover, a number of equipment and facility is needed for playing baseball, such batting helmet to protect the player's head and ear facing the pitcher from the ball, baseball cap to shade the player's eyes from the sun, catcher's helmet and face mask to protect both their head and face, uniform, which is the coaches and players wear shirts and pants of a specific color and design. Baseball cleats, shoes made of rubber or metal that players wear for better traction. Baseball bat, which is a round made ash wood or hollow aluminum. Ball. Layers of yarn or string is rolled on a cork spear and leather coat stitched over it to make a baseball. Gloves to protect the palms of the player and helps the fielder to catch the ball easily. Catcher's mitt and first baseman's mitt, which is much wider and better padded. than a normal fielder's gloves. Batting gloves, wherein the batsmen wear gloves on one or both hands for additional grip and to avoid shock when they strike the ball. And lastly, the baseball field or playing court with home plate, batter's box, pitcher's plate, and bases wherein the ball may be legally played and fielded in securely fastened position. Furthermore, there are more basic rules or regulations that players should follow in playing baseball, such as the basic rules. Number 1. There are 9 innings per game in baseball. Extra innings are played if the game is tied. Number 2. During each innings, each team gets a turn a bat. Number 3. During each turn a bat, the team keeps batting until 3 outs are made. Number 4. 3 strikes and the batter is out. Number 5. 4 balls and the batter walks to first base. Number 6. If the ball is caught, the batter is out. 7. If the batter successfully hit the ball and reaches a base, it is called a hit. All runners on base can advance. Number 8. If the runner is tagged with the ball while running the bases, he or she is out. Number 9. A runner is scored for each player who safely crosses home plate. And lastly, number 10, the team that scores the most runs wins. And lastly, there are following basic skills that the athlete or individual should possess in order to play baseball. First, are the throwing skills, which is to have a good throw. You should consider the elements of grip and focus your target before you execute or throwing the ball. Second, are the pitching skills that puts the game to play. Just like throwing, it is important for you to focus your pitch on your target before you execute the pitch. Third, are catching skills, wherein it is a defensive skills used to receive a thrown ball and hold base runner or batter from proceeding or preventing them from earning a point or a run. Fourth, are the hitting or batting skills, which is you need to tighten your grip as ball approaches, proper stance, stride right foot a little backward to gain momentum and swing to transfer the strength generated by the body towards the arms to bat as it wings. And lastly, the running skills, which is very important skills that you need to master because it allows you to advance from one base to another with full of speed and agility safely.
Sepak Takraw is a foot volleyball game where players touch as well as handle the ball using only their feet, knee, chest, and head. The rules and regulations of the game are very much similar to that volleyball, a very popular game around Southeast Asia. The game is played using rattan ball or synthetic ball. Since 1990, Sepak Takraw is also included in Asian Games. Similar to volleyball, here also two teams of players try to control the ball by touching it using only their feet, chest, knee, or head, and try to kick the ball pass to the net to the opposition side. Failing to kicking the ball pass to the net results in a point to the opposition, and the first team scoring the maximum point is declared winner. Sepak Takraw was originated in Malaysia around 500 years ago. In the 15th century, it was mostly played by the royal court. Around 16th century, the game was spread across Indonesia, where people called it Sepak Raga. By 1940, the net version of the game was spread across Southeast Asia and formal rules and regulations were performed for the game. The first official Sepak Takraw competition was held at a swim club on May 16, 1945 in Penang, where teams most from from various villages of Penang participated in it. During that period, the game used to be called Sepak Raga Jari. Slowly, the game spread across Southeast Asia, and around 1950s, it was played in almost every school. Sepak Takraw court is very much similar to that volleyball court with a flat, horizontal, and uniform surface. The dimension of the court is same as doubles badminton. Example, around 20 by 44 with different boundary lines drawn over it. Court border lines should be 10 feet away from all obstacles. The net height at the center is around 5 feet 1 inch and has different parts and lines, which are circle lines, quarter circles, and the service circle. The equipment used in Sepak Takraw are mostly comprised of the net and the hand-woven racquetball ball, net, shoes, and protective gear. The rules and regulations of Sepak Takraw are very much similar to that volleyball. The rules based on event, levels, and organization. The game is played between two teams, which are known as Regu. There are two types of Sepak Takraw events. Regu, 3 players on each side. Doubles Regu, each team has 2 players. In Regu, each team has 3 players including 2 substitute players. On the court, the team comprises of a striker, a server, and a feeder. Each player possesses different set of skills and tactics. Players also have to perform different kinds of shots based on the situation as well as players' characteristics. Here are some shots: inside kick, outside kick, knee kick, header, horse kick serve, sandbag spike, and roll spike. And lastly, Sepak Takraw is team sport so that it combines many different kicks, spikes, and serves. These range from different basic skills that most beginners would be able to pick up easily, to the more acrobatic kinds that require long period of training and practice to execute flawlessly, such as inside kick, which is the most common and basic skills in Sepak Takraw. The inside kick is used for controlling the ball. Outside kick, which commonly used, the outside kick is defensive kick that propels the ball upwards. Knee kick, which is, it utilizes the thigh. The ball is hit with the part of the thigh that is just above your knee. Header, which is not unlike a football header. A header spike in Sepak Takraw involves the use of the forehead to make the ball fly, especially when it's too high in the air for your kick to reach it. Horse kick serve, which is difficult to accomplish and requires a high level of skills and flexibility. Sandbag spike, which is similar to horse kick but done in a jump. And lastly, the roll spike, which is, it refers to jumping on one leg and flipping in the direction that you want your ball to move, while remaining airborne. Using the other foot, kick the ball over your opposite shoulder.